I'm here today at the Rainbow Fair Book Show in Community Center, New York City, talking to
Don Weise of Magnus Books.
And you seem to have some really special books that you're publishing.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Today here we've got a new book by Sam Delaney, Through the Valley of the Nest of Spiders.
Which one is that? Can you show that?
Yeah, it's this book here. It's brand new. It's not even in stores yet, but Delaney is a legend and has a huge fan following, so we're really excited to have this. Another book that we're excited about is Sacred Monsters, which is Edmund White's essay collection on artists and writers. And Ed is also going to be here today.
Well, that's a huge name.
It is. I mean, I'm really grateful to be working with such, famous people, such talented people. So they're both great guys.
And who is this here?
Oh, this is a great book by Charles.
The cover caught my eye, I have to admit.
It catches everybody's eye. This is Chulito, and it's a novel about a gay boy, sort of a gangbanger, drug dealer, teenager who realizes he's gay, and it's his coming out story. It's romantic, it's sexy, and people are really loving it. So it's the first book, as far as we can.
Is it an autobiography, or?
No, you could almost. It reads like that in some ways, though it's not. But it's a very touching story, and what's great about it is there's really not a lot out there book-wise about the gay Latino experience in the Bronx. So as far as we know, this might be the first novel ever done on the topic.
There's an incredible movie about the guy who comes back to prison to find that his a young male son is a transsexual.
Yeah, I heard about that. I saw the trailer. So
I'm trying to think of the name of the road. I can't. It's a famous boulevard in the Bronx.
Don't look at me. You'd have to ask Charles. He's from the Bronx.
So tell me, what are the other things? Do you specialize especially in gay books? What's Youth in Crisis about?
Yeah, Youth in Crisis is a great book. It's a collection of personal stories by celebrities, people like Richard Chamberlain and Martina Navratilova, and on and on and on, as well as young people. And it's about how anti-gay religious bigotry drives kids to suicide. So there's stories about how they grew up in a religious setting, the struggles they had, and how ultimately they learned to embrace themselves and understand that, what the church was saying was just bigotry. It was nothing more than that. And
it gets better.
It is. It gets better. Only it was published before that campaign came around, and it's done by Mitchell Gold of Faith in America, which is a nonprofit organization that deals specifically in combating anti-gay bigotry.
I have a lot of videos on YouTube about bullying, including a young trans man who sings songs dedicated to the boy that jumped off the bridge, and Matthew Shepard.
Well, it's what's incredibly harrowing about the book is, there's stories in there in the very back by parents who used to be fundamentalist Christians whose kids killed themselves specifically because they were gay and they didn't think that they could tell their parents, so they killed themselves. And when your child kills himself, I mean, it just changed everything. This one woman in particular, she left her church. She renounced everything that she had been a part of because she saw it for what it was and realized too late that she could have saved her daughter. But
they produced a movie, I think, Jim and Bold, about incidents just like that a few years ago.
Yeah, well, there's also a great documentary, and we mentioned this in the book. The Bible the Bible Told Me So, and it's stories very much like this about the way the religious teachings get twisted around to encourage, in many ways, violence against gay people. So.
Do you specialize in gay books, or do you have others?
I do. Gay, lesbian, bi, trans, the whole thing. We do mostly nonfiction, and we do new writers like Charles Rice Gonzalez with Chulito, but we also do books like David Mixner, At Home with Myself. David's a huge name. Edmund White's a real big name.
I was so impressed. David Mixner came at the Congressional Cemetery when we were having during the Day of Action for Leonard Maklovic. They had the veterans, and he came out of the hospital, got out of a hospital bill, came by cab to come to that particular ceremony in Congressional Cemetery in Washington. It went over, and I told him, I said, what you did today made such a huge statement you just can't believe.
Yeah, David is
he still alive?
Oh, yeah, yes, he is. And but David is one of my heroes. I didn't know him before. I knew of him, obviously, but I didn't really know David until we worked together. And I'm trying to think of another writer who I've enjoyed more, that I've come to admire more. And that story you just told is just one of hundreds of stories.
Wasn't he very, very involved with the Clinton presidency?
Yeah, and he had a famous break with Clinton over Don't Ask, Don't Tell. In fact, he helped get Clinton elected in the first place. Early on, he got lined up the gay community in support. So David is a powerful figure, even to this day.
Okay, and how can people find these books? Or you have a website generally for your books?
Yes, I have a website, Magnus Books, www.magnusbooks.com, or they can buy the books at their local bookseller or online or wherever they buy books.
Okay, now, I was just saying, is Magnus Books in any way related to Magnus Hirschfeld?
Good question. No one ever ties that together, but it is. I took partly it's a tribute to him, partly I just like the Latin meaning of it, but yes, Magnus.
What's the Latin meaning?
Greatness, and that's what at Magnus, we aspire to greatness. But more importantly, I like the historical nod to Magnus Hirschfeld, because he really was there just about at the beginning.
People don't realize that he was actually the founder of the gay movement years and years before Harry Hay. He started in the late 1890s and up through the 20s, had made great progress in Germany, and he escaped the Nazi being liquidated by the Nazis only because he was out of the country. They burned his library. He made great progress. And to me, the story of Magnus Hirschfeld is the tides of social change can flow either way, because Germany was the most progressive country regarding homosexuals. Jews had lived there in peace for 500 years, and then all of a sudden you had this come along and everything. They burned the gay center, they burned the gay library, and they started putting yellow triangles on homosexuals, pink triangles on homosexuals, and sending them to liquidation camps.
Yeah, well, gay history is still one of those things that is not written about, talked about, made movies about nearly enough. People like Magnus Hirschfeld are forgotten by most people, but hopefully, with something like Magnus Books, we kind of keep his name alive and, remind people that, we had to start.
Well, we got Harvey Milk, and that was a success, right?
We did. Right. Whether we had more of them. Bayard Rustin, another great.
Right. Are there any of these books that you think would be adaptable to a movie?
Oh, Chulito would for sure, and there's already been interest in Double Life, a love story between two men that has gone on for over 50 years now, and or Two Krishnas, Golub's book, his novel. The first book he did, The Ode, was made into a movie, and I think right now he's adapting this as a screenplay. So yeah.
I want to thank you very much for giving me the interview today, and you have no problem with me putting it on YouTube.
Okay, good. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.